So I wanted to make just a quick little video about the thought behind this holster here. And ideally this would be molded steel, so it would look way prettier than this. And this would all be bonded together as one. But just because this is what I have to work with, it's a little bit rough looking. But here we have just the traditional Kydex holster here. In here we have a very thin layer of metal right here. So the idea is that if the gun were to go off, it would go through this thin layer of metal, which in this case I used sheet metal. It would go through the sheet metal, it would hit this AR-500 steel, the bullet would shatter, and it would stay in here. This space here is filled with silicone. So in here I have a layer of sheet metal. This right here is the AR-500 steel, and all this in between here is filled with silicone. So if the bullet penetrates the first layer of metal, it goes through there, it hits the AR-500 steel, the bullet will most likely shatter, and it will get caught in this silicone, and this layer of metal should also keep fragments from coming out. If anything did come out, it would be right back up the bore of the pistol. Ideally, someone would carry a synthetic jacketed bullet that would cause a lot less fragments. And but for our test, we're actually going to use a full metal jacket, just because we want to know if this holster could truly withstand the worst bullet we can throw at it. And if it can withstand a full metal jacket, then we know it can definitely withstand a synthetic jacketed bullet or even a hollow point. Okay, this is the start of my armored holster. So the idea here is I'm going to line the edge of this existing holster with steel, and the cap will be AR-500. This little piece will go on top so that the sight can slide through the holster like so. All right, we're going to give this a go. Okay, so it is in there. Silicone's coming out the side. I'm gonna wipe that out. Paint this bad boy and glue it up. All right, now we're applying the epoxy that will actually hold the system together. Okay, this is the setup we have. We have this box full of white paper. It's all been glued in there. White paper laid down on the sides. Painted this white so that you could see any scratches of the paint. This will hold the pistol in place. We'll pull the trigger with the screen. This box will go over the machine here. And if any fragments come out of the holster, we should be able to see it in the white paper. It should either knock the paint off this, should be able to see it. Okay, when I pulled too hard and I pulled the box off the table and pulled the whole holster down with it. These all appear to be from the gun itself, or the metal that was in. I had this piece of metal in there for the phone inside to lean against. Anyway, when it fell, it looks like it knocked holes in the paper, but I'm not seeing like shrapnel in here. That was the hole I drilled for the string to go through. But, I mean, there's no shrapnel here. It really seems to have worked. However, my epoxy that I used to hold the plastic part and the metal part together did not hold up very well. However, if you look in there, it did exactly as planned. It went through the sheet metal perfectly and stopped on the AR-500 steel. Now, I wasn't able to weld this sheet metal in place because it's so thin and it was so far down in there. So I used epoxy to hold it in place, and the epoxy did not hold up well. But I really think that my concept worked. It went through the sheet metal perfectly, stopped at the AR-500 steel, and I bet here in a minute when I pull this apart, we will find the bullet beneath that. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this piece out here. So, look there. There's the bullet. Right there, shattered just like we were hoping. But apparently 24 hours is not quite enough to let this silicone dry. Sorry. But you can see the bullet all in here. There's fragments of it everywhere. Camera will focus. But if you look in here, you can even see the jacket there. So I would dare to say that this worked. Let's see here. Try to get a good. Oh yeah, the entire jacket is in here. Look at this. Here, jacket. Here, more lead. Here's another piece of the jacket. Oh yeah, here's a big piece of the bullet. Look at that. Let's go. I would dare to say that this worked. One more piece of the jacket right here. Gotta focus. So we've got the that piece of sheet metal. It went through there, stopped on the AR-500, and got caught up in the silicone just like we hoped. All we need is a better bond between the plastic and the metal, and we also need to figure out how to bond this piece of sheet metal down in there better.